I want to thank Glenn and Rob. They're two of my heroes. Rob and I met over that house 20 years ago. But part of the reason I was able to walk through fire is because there were people standing with me, Rob being one of them, and people who helped us figure out how to have a conversation about the places we intersect, about the places that our lives and our values are similar, even though sometimes there's a lot of ways we don't. And as a result of that first house and several later, as chair, we actually were able to build $15 million worth of housing for folks with mental disabilities in the city of Austin. Glenn and I know each other because when I left the Community Services Board, I joined his board. Hopkins House at the time was a one-building preschool on Princess Street that had belonged in that neighborhood for a very long time, but the neighborhood was changing. It was an opportunity to think about where were and who were the kids that most needed help. And with Glenn and several colleagues, some of whom are in the room, we were able to build an additional preschool down on Route 1, just in the district, but outside the city, sorry. And are building a third school, and actually finished a third school in Herndon, to carry early childhood education into here for all kids that we can possibly reach. But the truth is that 3 preschools isn't enough. You guys have heard a very cute little boy today. He is my grandnephew. That's Jace back there. When Rob talks about stories. Jace will turn 2 6 days before the election. And I want Jace to have every opportunity to reach his potential, as we all want all of our children to. He is a funny, cheerful, fearless little guy, and we want him to have all of the success. Now, not just because I love Jace, and not just because it's the right thing, but because all of us depend on all of us. Our economy depends on everyone doing well. The amazing Paul Wellstone said that when we all do well, we all do well, and that's the driver for me. 15 years from now, when Jace graduates from high school, I want Jace to see a world filled with possibility, starting with college. Not worried that he might be targeted for what he looks like, or who his parents are, or other people's choices, but seen as offering possibility to our world. And I think we want that for all of our kids. I want to talk about his mom, who gave me permission to do this. We rehearsed this morning. I want to talk about Rachel. Rachel had Jace when she was 19 years old. She had intended and still intends to go to college. She wants to be a nurse. Right now she works full-time in her favorite fast food restaurant that provides Jace with all the guacamole he could possibly want to eat. But that's not enough of a living to fully support her child on her own. She lives with her dad. And it's certainly not enough to do that and go to college. And we actually need Rachel to be able to go to college, because she's going to be an amazing nurse, and we're going to need her as a nurse. And one of the struggles she has working in a fast food restaurant is we also need to have a conversation about fair wages. You know, Seattle now has and despite what everyone says, Seattle did it, and Seattle is doing better for having done it. Okay? And then there's the woman thing. There's the conversation about 77 cents on the dollar. Now, we like to talk about the 77 cents on the dollar, and when we do that, we're usually talking about executives. We like to play around with conversations about Sheryl Sandberg and Marissa Mayer, who are making millions. They just aren't making as many millions as the men before them. Here's the real truth. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about the McDonald's manager or the nursing manager in a nursing home caring for our parents who's making $40,000 a year instead of $50,000. Because that $10,000 is the difference between success for her family and struggle. Public policy isn't this like cool theoretical thing. Okay, it is. Lots of people in this room and I have a great time playing around with, well, what if we do this? And the theory of public policy. But it's actually about people's lives. And it's about little guys and Rachel succeeding, because as we get older, we need them to be in our workforce, not just because it's the right thing, but because it actually is the right thing for all of us to have. I want to talk about healthcare for a minute, because I don't have a lot of time on this speech. I can actually talk for a little bit. I want to talk about healthcare. Lots of my political colleagues have been saying, how many doors did you knock this week? And others are like, so have you been on the phone? My voice is about an octave deeper than it usually is today. My vocal power is terrible. And why? Because 3 days ago I couldn't finish a sentence. My pharmacist is somewhere in here, and I walked in to pick up the next set of prescriptions, and she said, so are you rethinking this yet? Because 3 days ago I couldn't finish a sentence without coughing because my asthma was so bad. And so I acquired, between doctor visits and medication, about $1,000 worth of medical expenses 3 days ago. I have health insurance. And I work for myself, and I have flexibility. It's one of the reasons I get to stand up here, right? If I don't do it today at 3, I'll do it tomorrow at midnight. What happens when somebody doesn't have health insurance is they pick whether they breathe or pay their mortgage. Not an appropriate choice. If they don't go to work, they also have trouble with next week's mortgage because they didn't go to work to get paid. Closing the Medicaid gap is incredibly important. We're all going to go help elect senators. So if we can take back the Senate, we can get this done. And quite frankly, to my future Republican colleagues, should you elect me, what on earth are we thinking, leaving $1.8 billion on the table already because we haven't done it? I think that we all believe in a Virginia where all kids get to reach their highest potential. We can live in a Virginia where families have safe, affordable housing and health care. We can live in a Virginia where people work hard, support their families, and retire with dignity. But we have to fight for it. We have to fight for it. And I just am so honored that all of you have come out to help me do this. It is amazing to look around this room, and I'm going to need more help. We are going to need your help to win this primary and go do these things. As Rob said, I have spent my career working on these. I know that I can hit the ground running. I've got some proven results behind me. I've worked in 40 states helping state agencies build strong programs and improve performance for families. Those are the things you care about. I hope you will help us between now and June 9th. I hope you'll vote on June 9th.